When examining giant breed dogs, you have to make some alterations to your plan. Certainly, standing examination in the pelvic limb can be performed the same way as you do for a more medium to large breed dog, but in the giant breed dog, it becomes more important to support the body, but also you have some limitations. Examination of the pelvic limb is done in a normal fashion. Sometimes more strength is required, and it's important to support them more thoroughly. It's impossible to straddle a dog of this size, so when performing the thoracic limb exam, we'll tend to come in laterally next to the dog. It does put you in a more exposed position as the examiner, but it is possible to go through the same examination of the manus, the carpus, the elbow, the shoulder, the radial nerve tract, the C6 vertebra, and palpate for effusion, atrophy, and the other essential components of the exam. In large dogs of this size, it's sometimes easier to examine them in a more recumbent position. That allows some of the muscle tension and the size disadvantage you're facing to be negated. In a dog this size, it can be difficult to encourage them to move into a sitting position, particularly of this breed type, but if you're able to move them into a sitting position, then recumbency can be achieved. Okay, let's put it down. Ready? 2, 3. It's important that you control their head and they don't bang their head during the process. You can see in this case, with Will, he's nervous, but he's not fighting our process. Both Carissa and I have good contact with Will. We're bracing him, he feels our bodies, and that makes him more comfortable. In this position, it's possible to extend and flex the hind limb, look for abnormality in all of the distal joints, and the hip can also be assessed in this position, sometimes more readily than in a standing position. Stability, change in joint range of motion, and the presence of pain can all be palpated. The thoracic limb can also be examined, but pressure on the patient can be maintained from this location. That will also help with the very large dogs, and in particular, the very nervous dogs.